Hi guys, and welcome back to another video and an introduction to a new car to our collection. Now, you know, myself and Bilal are huge BMW fans and we both share a dream car. I never thought that it would be possible to get this, but we have finally managed to achieve our goal and buy a BMW Z8. So let's take a closer look. So this is the newest car to our collection, a BMW Z8. This car was made in the year 2000 and it is a very iconic shape. It was featured in the James Bond film, which it's very famous for. If you've seen it, you would have known from that film that a saw cuts the car in half. Luckily, this car is fully together, and as you can see, it is very, very beautiful. This car is not about the performance, it is really about the driving experience in terms of the looks of the car, having the hood down. When it came out, it was panned a lot by the reviewers because I don't think they actually got the car. This car is now more understood the longer it's been around. It's really a GT cruiser. It was never designed to be a full-on M car or sports car. And in fact, it's not even designated an M car, even though it has the M engine from the E39 M5. Later on in this video, myself and Bilal will take this for a drive and let you know what it's like. But for me, this car is really about the design. It's very beautiful, and in my opinion, there isn't another BMW that is as unique and beautiful as this. It is based on the 507, so a lot of the design cues came from there. The car was actually designed by Henrik Fisker, who started Fisker Automotive, who made the Karma, which was a fully electric car. And you can see some of the references between that car and this. It looks a bit like an Aston Martin. It looks very classy. See on the front of the car, the kidney grills are actually integrated into the body of the car, and it's very reminiscent of the 507. I'm not going to use that term throughout the video because it will get boring, but the car is fully reminiscent of the 507. So a lot of the design cues do come from that car. So if you haven't seen it before, we'll put some shots of that car in here while we're talking about it. The other cool feature on the front of the car is the integrated fog light here into the kidney grille. And moving over to the indicator, that's actually a neon tube. Moving over to the side of the car, you can see that it's very curvaceous. There's hardly any straight angles on the car, and it's got so many details built into it that it's very difficult for me to convey everything. Hopefully the pictures will do a better job than I am. But from the side profile of the car, the things like the integrated grills here, which were borrowed again from the 507 and we saw on the Z3, and the indicator here, the BMW badges, again integrated into the whole area. The design is very cohesive, and it's not something that we're used to seeing from modern BMW designs. Realistically, it doesn't have a bad angle on the car. The only thing that I think is slightly softly designed, I won't say I dislike it, but I think it could have been done better, is the wheels. But we are going to address that because I've seen so many Z8s on Alpina wheels and they look amazing, and I think that we need to do something similar on this. But that's about it. In terms of design, there's nothing I would want to change on the car. It's got really cool chrome features as well as the side grills, even the washer jets on the bonnet are chrome, the wing mirrors, the door handles. A lot of cars have been styled over the female form, and it's very evident on this car. Again, very curvaceous. The rear is wider than the front, and the curves just don't stop at the side or the rear of the car. They actually flow over the top. Moving down, the rear lights are really nice long slit going around to the side of the car with a chrome insert here, and again the neon tubing inside the indicator to match the front. I really like what they've done with the number plate integration. On modern cars, the number plate integration seems to be forgotten about, but it's really good the way they've integrated it into the top half of the bumper, with a reverse light on the left hand side and the fog light on the right hand side here. The rear exhaust tailpipes do suit the car. They come through the bottom part of the bumper section here, but it is something we want to change purely because we know what the S62 can sound like, and it's actually quite muted on this car from factory. The Z8 is one of those rare cars where the interior is just as beautiful as the exterior. They tried to carry all of those retro themes on the outside, on the inside. There's leather everywhere. It's carpeted where you wouldn't imagine it to be carpeted, even behind the seats here. I don't think there's a bit of actual plastic here. The plastic bits are colored in silver, and the rest of the interior is painted a dark gray color. I really like the way the dials face you, so they've slanted it to the driver, and they look very familiar to me. They look like the E39 M5 dials. I haven't compared them directly, but that's what it reminds me of. The switch gear in here is incredible. It's actually machined, so the indicator stalks here are machined out of metal. Everything is very high quality, and nothing actually looks like it's borrowed from another car. So usually when a manufacturer makes a high-end version of their other cars, they'll borrow the switch gear, but this does look completely bespoke to me, and it's got a very minimal feel to it. So for example, there's only one window switch on this side, and to control the passenger side window, I just push a toggle on that side and use the same switch. So little features like that are really cool. The stereo here is hidden underneath this flap here. So again, they've gone for that. You operate the radio and then you can close it off, and you've just got a really minimal feel to the cabin. Everything is super high quality and the details are just insane. I keep saying it, but this is one of those cars, they've just got the design of everything just absolutely bang on. One of my favorite features on the car is the steering wheel. Again, it's got the dark gray paint around the outside, so it looks like it's metal, and it's got these 4 prongs going across, and it's very reminiscent of a boat steering wheel. And in a way, this car probably would have been aimed at people who had boats or yachts. It reminds me of a boat, luxurious boat, but for the road. The other quirky thing about this is that it's probably one of the first BMWs that has a push start, but you still have to put the key in the ignition, turn it, and then start the car. And you can see the key the whole time you're driving, which is a bit strange because normally it's hidden on the left or right hand side. As you can tell, I could probably talk about the design of this car for hours, but let's go pick Bilal up and see how the car drives. So Bill, Z8, how you finding it?
Well, okay, I've driven it once, I think.
Yeah.
Driven it once.
Yeah.
I love that first drive. It was just special.
I haven't shown you guys, but the key's pretty cool. So it's got a machined part at the bottom, which is not on any other BMW key I've seen. So we'll just go for a drive, we'll have a little chat, and then you can drive it and give us your impressions. But this is not going to be our usual first drive video and then enthuse about the driving dynamics and everything of the car, because this car is not about that.
It's about the emotions.
It's about the emotions. It's an experience, it's a sense of occasion. And I think that when this car was launched, that's why it didn't get good reviews, because everyone thought it was a sports car in the sense you'd expect an M-Power car to be. So although it had an M-Power engine, it's not really about that. This is a cruiser.
It's a luxury cruiser.
Yeah. It's like a boat.
Yeah.
For the road. But you can drive it, you know, it still corners well, it rides pretty well. But it's one of the few cars that I drive and I don't want to drive it fast whatsoever.
No, it's one of those cars you want to just chill and just take it all in, and just, you know, the experience of being in an iconic car like this, or the bespoke interior, switchgear, and it just feels nice. It feels different. It feels special.
And from your perspective as somebody who does design beautiful aesthetic parts, I think you can really appreciate the details that have gone into this car.
Well, yeah, definitely, especially since it's a pretty much one-off parts as well. They're not production parts shared across different platforms. Just makes it even that much more special, knowing how the car was made, why it was made. It was essentially a BMW Coachworks car, wasn't it? It was just like a special projects car, and it was all handmade. So just knowing all that just makes you really appreciate the effort that's gone into making this car.
And to think that when they came out, they couldn't even sell them for the retail price of around 70 grand, and they were discounting them to £50,000 and they just about sold 5,000 of them. And ever since, I've been watching these cars for ages, like dreaming one day I'm gonna buy one. And the first time I seriously started looking, I don't know what year it was, they were 90,000. And every year since then, they've been going up around £10,000 a year. And I really did think, I think me and you had this conversation with Bob from Studi, and we were talking about, he was saying, what cars do you like or what do you want to get? And we said Z8, and he goes, oh my God, they've gone like too far. But we managed it.
Well, they're only going to keep going one way because of the limited supply. And the fact that, well, as you know, like the rare limited cars which have a history, mean something, they're just going up, and they keep going up because the demand for these dinosaurs now is going to keep increasing. They're going to get more and more rare, especially with electrification coming in.
Yeah, and they're not going to make something like this
No,
again.
they're never going to make something like this again.
And even if they make something like this, it's going to be electric. Okay, fine, it will have the looks, you can cruise around in it. But I think this, especially with the S62, because both of us own E39 M5s as well, and we love this engine. And in this, the engine is part of the emotion of driving the car.
Yeah, I mean, the engine is a little bit subdued at the moment. You can't really hear it, but a few tweaks that we're planning will bring that sound to life, which will add that extra dynamic to the experience.
Yeah, I mean, you can still hear the engine.
You can hear it, 100%.
But the exhaust note is quite muted. But in terms of the ride, it's actually quite comfortable. I think it handles the British B roads pretty well. Don't feel like it's jarring too much, which is kind of cool if you want to cruise around. In terms of cornering, it can actually still corner. It's just not as dynamic as you'd expect from like a Z4M or something like that, which is not what this car is about.
It's not flat around corners, but again, that's not what the car's about. So you can forgive the car, but then again, you know, like a few small adjustments here and there, then that thing can be tweaked and, you know, tightened up.
Yeah, so in terms of changes to the car, I did mention that we're going to change the wheels. Because of that, we are going to change the suspension just to get it to sit a little bit lower. So there's not many options available for this car, but I found that Bilstein Italy had made a bespoke kit for somebody when the car was relatively new, and they still had the drawings for that. So we're going to have a bespoke Bilstein B16 Club Sport kit made essentially for this car, which should be really nice. And we also have a full set of Super Sprint manifolds, race cats and exhaust.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes,
100% looking forward to that.
Bill's very much looking forward to the exhaust so we can hear the glorious V8.
And then, you know, why not do an intake project as well to complement the whole package, because we can. Yeah, why not?
By the way, don't ask us to do one-off projects for any other car. This is only because this is Bilal's and mine's car, so we think it deserves an intake.
Plus, I think, you know, there are a few of these around in the US, so I'm pretty sure
I think we might sell 50
we'll sell a
kits.
few. Yeah, I think so.
Might make your time back, just about.
I don't put my time into the equation. That's the problem. So, but you know, it'll be worth it.
So this car has 41,000 miles on it. It's a one owner from new car. The guy was from Switzerland originally, then he moved to London, then he was driving the car in between London and Switzerland. He's looked after it really well. We bought the car from Hexagon, who had prepped the car amazingly. It probably will go to our detailer at some point, because I just like having ceramic coating on the cars to keep them clean. But apart from that, the car's in good shape.
It was a good experience buying it from Hexagon as well. You know, iconic, you know, BMW independent dealer. So that in itself was a nice experience.
I mean, they are expensive, but the level the cars are prepped to is really high. I was very impressed with the whole service as well.
Yeah, and it's peace of mind as well, knowing that it's a good example. You know, Hexagon wouldn't sell something that isn't a good example. So when you're spending this kind of money, you need that peace of mind.
Okay, I'm gonna jump out here and let you drive back so you can give a bit of your driving impressions. But to me, it's a GT Cruiser, and it almost feels like a American muscle car with the amount of torque that this V8 has. I think this is absolutely the right choice of engine for this car, because it's so torquey, and you've got that V8 rumble as well from the engine.
Yeah, you need that bottom end torque for a car like this. Yeah, that was the first time I was a passenger, I think. Yeah, it was.
Looks just as impressive from this side. You can take in more of the details. I love this little Z8 thing at the back. It's got leather absolutely everywhere. Leather here, leather on the roll bar, carpet at the back here. They've really just went to town.
It's beautiful
With this car.
It's very different.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like you're not in a BMW.
Yeah, I would say it does not feel like a BMW.
No.
So what makes this car iconic for me is seeing it in James Bond.
Oh yeah, of course. You know, how old were you when that came out?
I would have been around early 20s, I think.
No, yeah, so early 20s.
Just coming out
of university, no money,
careers, no money,
broke. Oh, that talk is lovely, isn't it? But yeah, broke. You know, aspiring to own something nice and starting a job, and then you look at this car in James Bond, and it was just lovely. And I think that's the one thing about this car which sets it apart. You don't have to be a car person to like this car. Do you know what I mean? Like some cars, you have to know what it is to appreciate the car, the lines, the way it looks. This car is universally beautiful, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And a car design now is not universally beautiful. It's like almost like you have to get used to it, or it's aggressive in its design. But your mum's not a car person.
No.
She saw this car on the driveway and she's like, oh my god, this car is beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I took it home, and look, you know, my wife likes cars, my mum, they like their own cars, but in their own way. And then they both looked at a car and they were like, wow, this is a beautiful car. And I've never heard them say that about any car, because, you know, they're not really car people. And then even like bringing the car back to the office, people who aren't generally car enthusiasts really like the way the car looks, because it is just naturally beautiful. And it's a shame they've lost. Yeah, let's not talk about what's happening.
Car design just gone a completely different way now. It doesn't have to be beautiful anymore. It just has to
Shock
evoke
you.
some kind of
Shock and
reaction
awe
from people. So I'm really glad that we've been able to buy, probably for me, one of the most beautiful BMWs, if not the most beautiful BMW. I know this is based off the 507, or has a lot of inspiration from the 507, but for me, I actually think this is better looking from a personal perspective, because I think it's just got more details than the 507, and because we grew up with this car, it probably has a bit more meaning to us than the 507.
That's what it is. It's the connection that we have with the car, seeing it from when we were young. You know, look, let's be frank. I mean, with the money we paid, we could have bought. There was a plethora of cars we could have bought, right? From Porsches,
you could buy a Ferrari, Lamborghini, anything you want.
Right.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't have had the same emotional connection to those cars that we have with this car, and that's part of the joy of owning a car, is how it makes you feel. And that's not necessarily how fast it is or how fast it goes around corners, you know, or the badge. It's just your connection from your own personal history. So, and we both share the same thing with this car.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to do that again, because
Well, that's fine.
no, but I want to drive it.
Okay.
Like properly. I was so focused on talking that
Yeah, that's fine. That's more interesting than the driving.
I didn't drive the car. A lot of my friends, even when I told them I'm buying a Z8, they just looked at me like, "Are you mad?
Yeah, you're paying that much money for a BMW.
Why are you spending so much money?" One of my friends actually jokes, "Oh, you've still got that noddy car."
He
You know, he calls it
noddy
the
car.
noddy car.
With a red interior.
I don't know, because maybe it's the silhouette on the side.
Yeah. Okay.
Because when the roof's up, it's
All right. Okay.
got that sort of bubble.
Yeah.
But yeah, he jokes with me. He's like, "Recession's coming. You better offload the noddy car." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, man."
Well, if a recession comes and the market gets depressed, you don't lose money until you sell the car. So we don't need to sell it. We won't realise the loss.
Yeah.
We'll
yeah.
just keep it until the market comes back up again.
It's not a loss until you sell it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
That's what I keep saying when I look at my cryptocurrency. Whoa, calm down, mate.
Just thinking about coming out there. But yeah, this car, when the weather's nice and the hood's down, it's just built for these roads, cruising around. I really want to do like a trip to the Alps or south of France in this, because I think this car definitely belongs down there. Yeah, left-hand drive.
Left-hand drive, isn't it? So I'm like,
I think so. All these cars are left-hand drive. Both myself and Bilal are used to driving left-hand drive cars. I don't know. Well,
he almost lost it as well.
That car. You better hope he doesn't understeer around the next corner.
Oh my god, he's going for it. Yeah, it is.
It's still enjoyable to drive.
It's enjoyable.
It's not dynamic, but it's still fun to drive. I think Hexagon have actually changed something in the gear shift as well. It's a lot.
It does feel more snappy.
Yeah, they said that they've changed the linkage or put something else in. I'll have to try and ask them what it is. But yeah, I can't wait to. The car is stunning anyway, but I can't wait to make our little tweaks to it just to make it more individual to us.
I'm just waiting for that sound. Yeah, it's enjoyable. I mean, it drives nice, but it's the whole experience, you know.
Yeah. I'm just glad that we were able to achieve this, because I think in 2017, 2018 we were talking about what cars we wanted, and Z8 was definitely on our list, but for a long time I just thought it would be unachievable. But thanks to our shared love of these cars and our passion for our business, we've been able to get there in the end.
Thanks to intake sales.
Yes.
It's incredible as well when you're driving this car around. So I mean, look, we've driven pretty much every car you can think of, right? So the exotic cars and everything, what have you. But this car gets so much attention. People who know it look at it, point at it. People who don't know it, they're still in awe with what they're looking at, because it's so different compared to everything else on the road.
I think it's one of those rare cars as well that you can't really place it in time, because when it came out it was so retro that it could have been an old car when it came out.
Yeah.
But for me, what's so special about it is that it looks like an old car, but it has modern running gear in it. So you get the look and the feel of a classic car, but you get the reliability of the S62 engine, and being a BMW that's not overly electronic. So it's still fairly easy to fix. And for us guys, it's easy to work on because we're used to working on BMWs of this era.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It has got that retro feel to it, doesn't it?
So we're going to leave it there, guys. We will join you again with this car when we have some updates in terms of the parts that we've ordered. We just have to wait for them to come in, and then we'll show you the transformation.
Looking forward to it.
So we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please remember to smash that like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. If you want to join the conversation, please drop a comment below and we'll try our best to respond to you. If you want to watch more of this project, you can do so over here. If you want to watch what YouTube thinks you might like from our other content, you can do so over here.